Greg, I'm so happy.
Great to be here, Aldo. We're telling Ringo stories for the last hour, so what a blast. You're a Ringo fanatic, aren't you?
Fanatic. The morning after, we call it the morning after.
February 6th.
When that morning I went to school and I was a changed person, all of a sudden we were all musicians. I had never played an instrument, but we were all musicians. We put a band together, no instruments, nobody knew how to play anything.
That's right.
But we were the Beatles.
That's right.
And we all dreamt, and I know everybody has the same story.
A friend of mine's band, they called themselves Larva. And I said, Larva, like the bugs? He goes, yeah, because larvae grow into beetles.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. Anyway, but they changed the world in many ways, and man, it's like, thank you.
Thank you, God. Yeah.
Thank you. No and you're so fortunate to be that close, and now this is one step away. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Well,
and you're so wonderful in everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you,
thank you for being here at KoSA.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I have a question. In all the work that you've done with all of these great people, including Ringo and Maynard, like everybody that you've played with, what has that taught you? I know this is a kind of a loaded question that you can't answer briefly, but what has that taught you to teach and to tell everybody that you come across?
Okay, great question, and I think I can be kind of concise with it, because what it's taught me is that every single, you mentioned Maynard, which is a jazz group, but a big band, and they play funk and Latin and all kinds of styles. Ringo, which is primarily pop rock, but we do Black Magic Woman by Santana with Greg Raleigh. We do Rosanna in Africa with Steve Lukather and Hold the Line. We do, Mr. Kyrie Liaison and Broken Wings. And then we do Todd Rundgren, I Don't Want to Stop, I Want to Bang on the Drum All Day, and I Saw the Light. There's many different kinds of music that's played in the All-Star Band, but there's many different kinds of music in any gig you do, like David Lee Roth with arena rock, or with kind of more Latin-y stuff with Santana, or if there's like, maybe Brushes with James Taylor. I teach students that each one of these styles, the more you learn, even if your favorite style is this, and my favorite style, like you, I'm sure, is pop rock Beatles stuff, but the more you learn about Afro-Cuban music, the candombe from Uruguay, the more you learn about playing jazz with brushes, or double bass, prog rock, or Latin, Brazilian, you name it, it'll help that style. And I look back at John Bonham, somebody that was one of the greatest hard rock drummers ever, and he was so into Brazilian music, on the end of goes into a Brazilian groove, and then back into Fool in the Rain. That made him a better drummer, I think. The more you learn about other styles, they'll enhance the other one, and that's, I think, a basis for teaching.
Excellent, yeah, and I think we all know that. I mean, I certainly, when I started studying music and got my degrees, and I went into classical, went into the world music and everything, and the more I learned, the more I realized. And then I got called to these things, and they asked me exactly what I've been working on, and boy, I was happy to be ready.
Yeah, you were ready, and the time came.
God,
That's the thing for kids, is be ready. You never know in 10 years what the style of music could be. When the Police hit, a lot of people were not familiar at all with reggae and didn't have the independence to be able to pull off Stuart Copeland. But if you were ready, like you were ready, when you got the call, boom, thank God I was ready, you said. So that's perfect.
No, you're absolutely right. Greg, another thing that I wanted to ask you is, as a man who's living in Los Angeles and being so active in the performance world, the studio world, you also do voiceovers.
Oh, thank you.
For a very well-known artist and things, and having a family, being on the road so much, what does one do living all those worlds, which are things we dream about, but it's what we do. Each one of us is so different.
Yeah.
In your situation, you have all of these things going on besides the family, besides the touring with all these great folks that is very demanding. How do you keep your balance with all of that?
Oh, man, thank you, Aldo. Well, I grew up in a really great family where my parents were musicians. My dad played drums. My mom played vibes in his band. My sister works for a big music company in LA. My brother is the bass player with Elton John. We've worked together like crazy. But growing up in a musical family, well, that's just what went on. My dad, to earn a living, he had a salesman's job at a bread company, but he went to play gigs at night because that was the fun thing to do, and he made extra income from that. But, you know, it just was kind of a natural progression. My parents always said, well, why don't you get a degree in music education so that if you don't make it playing and performing, you can teach and still be involved in music. And to me, that was such a good bit of advice from my parents, because I went to North Texas State. I got a degree in music ed. I learned to an extent to play a scale, at least, on all the instruments in the orchestra, to teach band. And I got a music ed bachelor's so I could teach school. But that, even though I haven't taught school yet, except my student teaching that I did, that teaching love and the education classes, the psych classes, how to teach, that has been such an advantage. Like when you said you were ready with the world beat and everything, I feel like when it came time to start doing clinics for drum companies and cymbal companies, I thought, I love to teach. And I've been working on teaching. I got a degree in teaching. And when it came to voiceover, that was a whole new thing. But I just happened to have this hoarse, raspy voice, and I got a voiceover agent, and I do a lot of auditions because it's like music. You figure out, I study a lot. I take voice lessons, and I take acting lessons, because you've got to act and learn where to put your commas in and your accents. It's just like playing an instrument. I sit in voiceover auditions sometimes with a script, listening to the pros that have been reading scripts as long as you and I have been playing percussion and drums. So it's intimidating, but it keeps you moving and growing. I take a lot of drum lessons still. I love to grow and try to learn more. But the grounding thing, I think, comes from a family that my parents were super well grounded. And, you know, no matter what, I mean, I just dreamed and said my prayers every night. God, I want to try to be a professional drummer. And my prayers have been answered. And so have yours. We do this for a living. We play music. And what could be more incredible than to do what you love for a living? So how can you have an attitude or an ego or feel like you're going to complain about anything when what we do is what we love?
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine you wake up every day and one more day to do what we love to do.
One more day.
You know, like, it's a gift.
It is a gift.
But we have to work on it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. You see, all these years have gone by and I'm still doing this. Of course, it's a struggle every day. But
yeah.
Because then you have other things. Family.
Yeah.
Like, you have to factor that in, and you have to respect time and everybody's energy, and everybody's got to have your attention, and you want to be there.
Yeah, you want to be there. And I put being a dad first in my life. I love my kids so much, and I try to carve out my time and work it around my kids. But what you said, you know, is so true. We love being on stage. It's not the 2 hours we're on stage every night. It's the other 22 hours of trying to deal with, you know, flights and hotels and putting gas in the car and trying to get there and paying taxes and this and that and the other thing. The stuff we have to do when we're not playing music, but if we don't do it, then, you know, it doesn't get done. So the music's the fun part.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Gregg. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Aldo.
Thank you for being there. Thanks for joining us.
My third time. I'm honored to be here a third time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and continued success, and with Ringo and everybody else, just more music.
Thank you, Aldo. And for those KoSA viewers out there, if you couldn't be here in Vermont, please make it to KoSA Cuba in March. Fantastic opportunity to go to one of the most incredible countries in the world, where Africans and Cubans met and Afro-Cuban drumming had started. So the fact that you're going there, wow, I wish I could go.
Well, be careful what you wish for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.